Well, I think that my prognostications lately have been about as good as they get. I said on Sunday night that the market would be flat, flat, flat on Monday, Tuesday, and probably half of Wednesday. And look, so far, I mean, I hit it out of the park,
Except for Tesla.
except for Tesla. I just said the markets. But I mean, I have said about my little guess that that was probably the easiest futurism that I've ever done, given that we have this massive Fed thing coming up on Wednesday. On the other hand, one of my favorite co-hosts made a prediction a week ago to no, it wasn't a week ago today. We did it on
It was a week ago. Oh, you're right. We on
Wednesday.
a
It was
Wednesday.
Wednesday. It was Wednesday. On Wednesday, somebody named Nick Gibbs made a little bit of a prediction. Do you remember exactly what you said?
Yeah, I said if CPI is decent, the market likes it, and a caveat it. I don't know what that means.
Right.
Meaning, it could be a bad CPI market likes. It could be a higher CPI, but not too high market like. It's you
Right.
never know.
Yeah.
At this point, is good news, bad news, bad news, good news? We don't know anymore. But what I'd said is, if the market doesn't hate it, that we're probably going to break out into the 360s. And sure enough, we did. And like I've been saying, once we break 360, we're going to 400. And here
Yeah.
we are.
And actually, I think you said, didn't you, haven't you also said that there really is no, other than that psychological 400 break, that there's really no technical ceilings to keep us from going straight to all-time highs, right?
Sort of, but not those levels. From 360 to 400,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a knife through butter. There's no
Nothing,
resistance. From
which we saw.
here, yeah. From here, 400 has been a resistance.
Right.
And once you break resistance, becomes kind of a support, which you saw that, right? You saw how it kind of took us a little bit to break 400. It wasn't too bad, but and then 420, ironically, is another resistance,
Yeah, okay.
which again you've seen that over the past couple days. So now from here, I don't know. I'd have to look at a chart. And again, this is all just
Of course, saw the yeah.
voodoo.
Woo woo. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but no, I actually, like if you break out above 430, there's no volume. There's like nothing. So
Nothing. Okay.
yeah. So we could run a good amount, but I will say, as a Tesla investor, I don't want that.
Oh,
That might sound counterintuitive. What you want is you want to be able to hang out. Like, I would love for us to hang out here for a month, a
no,
solid month, for all of September. Just
Uh-huh.
hang out here.
Uh-huh.
The reason being is it would create a good support.
Right.
And like I'm talking about how like there's no volume. It creates that volume so that, for bots out there, hedge fund, whoever, it's a nice resistance level. And we haven't had that at all in the 400s. So it would be good to kind of create a base and then continue. So that would be healthier. I hope for that. I know most Tesla investors don't want that. They want to hit all-time highs yesterday, and they're in a rush to be rich. But it'd be better if it was constructive, which is kind of what I've been saying all along, that we've been constructive on this upward move. But this recent breakout has been quite the breakout. So it would be good to be a little constructive, and don't be surprised if we do come down a little bit or stay flat. I can almost guarantee you we're going to either come down a little bit or chop around here for a while. What's a while? I don't know, but at least a couple weeks. I can almost guarantee that.
So one of the things that we're always looking for in terms of making those prognostication is whether there's any news. And what I felt like happened over the last 4 weeks is there was lots of news that should have moved the stock, but it didn't. And so then, to your point, when we got the pretty much certainty about the Fed cutting, that seemed to be the spark. That seemed to be, and that was your point, I think, is that that spark then allowed us to take this really quick move up. There's a lot of news today a lot of news today. We got an 11-point, move today up to 421, I think, or something. And it's going higher in the pre-market.
Aftermarket.
Yeah, all that stuff. The after hours. But the news that we got this morning, which was that I felt like the big thing was that Elon is like, yeah, I'm working, man. I'm doing this. Here's even my schedule. Here's what I'm doing. And when Elon puts his pedal to the metal, get it? When he puts, yeah. Okay. So when he gets like charged up and he's like going, there's no telling what could happen. So I felt like that was kind of newsy this morning, but we've had two more pieces of news since then. But I'll let you comment on the pedal to the metal part.
Oh, so I like everything he said. I think it would be more. I'm struggling for the right words to convey what I want to say, but for lack of good thinking right now, it would be more believable if it wasn't right before he had a pay package on the line.
Vote.
Exactly. So it's like, is this showmanship for all that? Is he saying a little extra for that? Probably. Do I doubt he's doing the things he says? No, I don't. But you can see where it's like, all right, great, Elon. Give us this in December, in January, and February of next year.
Right.
Tell us that then when things are quieter and there's not a lot going on. Tell us then.
Well, okay. And so you said that you really liked what he said this morning, but I thought the part that you liked the best was something about daddy. I don't know what you meant though. What do you mean you like the daddy comment? Why was that so important?
I think I know what you're trying to thread, but I don't know where to go with this and how do we
You don't know how to do it? Well, I don't know. We've been kind of waiting for you to become a daddy for quite a while, and I understand that we're now down to counting the hours or the days.
Yep, we're getting there. So it's in the final home stretch here, and I could not be happier. I'm just so ready. It's funny. Everybody keeps asking me, "Are you scared? Are you nervous? Are you this? Are you that?" I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just excited. I want to meet the little guy.
Yeah.
I want to hang out with him, even if he's not doing anything. I just want to be able to be there. And honestly, I want my wife to have a little bit of a break. I know she probably won't have a break, but at least it'd be a different level or a different type of uncomfortable than what she's been going through. Yeah. Hopefully it's less painful, just more exhausting, I think would be good.
Yeah, well, there's so many things I could say right now, but we don't want to do a 2-hour show today. Since I have,
do we tend to go long?
Since I have 4 kids, and what are we up to now? I forget. I think it's either 11 or 12 grandkids. I think I've lost track since I've 2 new ones just in the last 7-8 months, something like that.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a little boy and a little girl. How about that?
That's beautiful.
All right. So speaking of good news or news, and that's good news, and then there's this other news. Sawyer Merritt reports Uber Freight is partnering with Tesla. I would never come up with this, to introduce a semi-truck accelerator program. This first of its kind buyer's program is designed to make electric freight more affordable and accessible by addressing key adoption barriers. This new program provides fleets with a subsidized entry point into electrification. Fleets would purchase the Tesla semis through the program and receive a subsidy on the purchase price. This would give them fleets would integrate their Tesla semis into Uber's freight dedicated solutions for shippers for a predetermined period. So I guess they wouldn't have to do it forever, but they'd have to do it for a while. And that creates an opportunity for carriers to forecast revenue with confidence while shippers gain consistent access to reliable zero emissions capacity. Uber Freight taps into an extensive freight network to match carriers with consistent, high-quality freight from our strong shipper base, helping ensure the addition of these Tesla semis stay fully utilized and carriers see dedicated, real, measurable returns from the start. So I have been, of course, a manufacturer, a wholesaler, and a retailer. I have been dealt with freight almost my entire life, having to, get freight, arrange freight. Mostly I had people to do that for me, but it was part of what we did. It was a very big piece of our expense. And I've also been, had a couple of clients who were truckers, and I've had clients who were in the trucking finance business. I know a lot about the trucking industry. This is amazing. This is huge for these local truckers who can get out from under the two big pressures they have, which is making the payments and not being clear on when they're going to get their next load.
So I don't want to bore everybody, but Uber, I don't. Let's not conflate Uber Freight with Uber. Okay, they're two different businesses.
Yep.
Uber is, I think, taxis.
Right.
Right. We get that. I don't explain. You guys get what Uber is. What Uber Freight is, it's more like eBay meets a dating site. And so what they're trying to do is match a load, a shipper, and a broker together.
Yep.
So in North America, we have all kinds of load boards like DAT, Dial Truck is one.
You
then
know
you
something
have
about the freight business too, apparently.
I know a lot, yes.
Yeah.
And then so that's like a load board, but then you also have TSM, transportation system managers. And so these are softwares that pull in from load boards to facilitate for brokers. All right. So that's the area where Uber Freight plays in. That is not to be, I just want to make it very clear. That's a huge distinction from Tesla not working with Uber when it comes to autonomous driving in the network. If this was about autonomous semis, I guarantee you Tesla would not be partnering with Uber Freight for that. They may still partner with Uber Freight for matching shipper, broker, carrier, but not for the actual vehicle itself. So there's a fundamental, these are two completely disparate business models. I just want to point that out. So, yeah.
Okay,
I'll pause there.
so I am missing that, and I think it's important enough to talk about it because I think it's I think it's potentially. We've been talking about this now for 3 weeks with Brian Wong, with others. I forget who all. Everybody seems to want to talk about Uber Freight right now and the potential for the dollars, but part of that, of course, is the autonomous portion. So what I hear you saying though is that they would allow Uber to be a piece of the conversation to help let's say I got Joe's trucking. He's got 3 trucks. Uber says, okay, if you buy the truck through us, you will get to go into our program. No, you'll have to go into our program. We will be the one who helps you facilitate getting your loads. Whatever method we use doesn't matter for now, whether that's a unique method, whether it's using some of those facilities you were just talking about, but one way or the other, we're gonna really make sure you get those loads. And and this is going to be a great win-win because we're also going to subsidize the truck to some extent. That would be perfectly fine with Tesla to sell to Joe's Trucking through Uber and allow Uber to be their matchmaker. But you're saying that the day that Tesla adds autonomous to that truck, they would no longer allow Uber to do this program?
Not quite. So you have to understand when it comes to robotaxi, you really have just 2 parties, right? Like right now, okay. Currently, you have 3 parties. You've got the driver of the vehicle, you've got Uber, and you've got the passenger.
Right.
All right. When it comes to autonomy, you no longer have the driver, so you just have Uber and the passenger.
Right.
All right. So it's just 2 parties. Tesla, they don't need Uber for that. They can do 2 parties. That's easy. But when it comes to shipping things, anything, it's a lot more complexity to it.
Agree with you.
All right. You have, I mean, just, you have to understand, what are you carrying? Where are you carrying it to? What type of equipment do you need? What type of insurance do you need? What type of licensure do you need? Does it need to be a reefer? What are you going to charge for the given lanes? How many trucks are already going from point A to point B? Is it seasonal? What's normally the price for that? What about weather? Is that a condition? Like, it goes on and on when it comes to trucking.
Do I have a load coming back?
Yeah, exactly. Right. You don't want a deadhead. Exactly. So that's like, just in general, just trying to even match, right? Then you don't just have the truck driver and the person trying to ship something. That is very rare. The way it normally works is you have the person who's trying to ship something. They work with a broker who's in the middle. That broker is the conduit between the shipper and the carrier. All right. So that broker is in that middle. That broker will choose to use different services. They might use Uber Freight. They might use DAT. They might use what's it called, a truck stop, or whatever it's called. There's all these different platforms that broker will use. So it's, the chain of communication is way different here. And then, even then, you might have that individual person who's not just their own company, but they're a company within another company that's got a fleet. So it's much more, there's a lot more complication than just, I want a car, call a car. So what I think will happen eventually, and I think this is way down the road, I think autonomous semis are, I think that's going to be like a cherry on top for Tesla. And the reason I say that is because I think we have seen how much data is required just to be able to have FSD work well from a Model Y to the Cybertruck, right? We've seen that. And even to this day, people would say that the Cybertruck still isn't as good as the Model Y or Model 3.
Right.
So we know that semi is going to have an infinitely less amount of data. What they have with Y's SX3Y Cybertruck, it's not going to be the same, because the camera placements are going to be way different. The angles are going to be way different. You're probably going to need something in the very way back of the truck and the bed, right? There's a lot more complications to that. So I don't think you'll see autonomy for semis for quite some time. But when that does happen, I think the idea of Tesla partnering with them will look a lot different. I think Tesla will channel through fleet managers. Those fleet managers will still function through brokers, and brokers may choose to use Uber Freight as one of the systems that they look at for loads, but not necessarily them independently. So I think right now all they're trying to do is give an incentive, saying, "Hey, if you're working with Uber Freight, great, we'll give you this deal for right now." But it wouldn't be exclusive.
Right.
Obviously, they could drive for anyone, just like anyone can go from Uber to Lyft if they wanted to.
Right.
So just the complexity is tenfold when it comes to freight versus when it comes just to moving people. And again, like I said, it's when I say insurance, don't take that lightly. Insurance on trucks is a huge thing, right? There are certain levels you have to have. You're constantly getting stopped and inspected randomly is how it happens. You got to have your CDLs. It gets very complicated. And then there's the whole issue of something called double brokering. If you've ever looked into that, double brokering is a huge fraud issue in the freight industry that costs just North America over $3 billion a year. So there's so much complexity into that. You don't have that in normal point-to-point B2C transportation. Right. So I'll stop there. We don't need to go any deeper, but it's on another level. It's an order of magnitude more complicated.
All right. So that, though, to me, is a very big piece of news. In a normal time, I might think that was worth $10 all by itself, almost like we saw the huge jump that we got with the Hertz. Situation a couple of years ago, and that was a promise to buy trucks in the future. Cars. This is a promise to facilitate the sale of trucks in the future, but this one sounds like they're not going to have the problems Hertz had because I think Uber knows what they're doing in this space, and Hertz obviously did not know what they were getting themselves into. So, I'm thinking that we may not see much of a move because of this funny climate that we're in, where it seems to take five catalysts to get a move, and then all of a sudden it goes all at once.
Well, I don't even know if the catalyst has happened yet, really, if I'm being honest. I think a lot of this has been building. I think Tesla was just oversold for a long time based on where we knew it was. And mind you, we were still in much of the game of we believe this will happen. Then, what was it, June 17th or whatever it was?
22nd, yeah.
22nd. We went from we believe this will happen to, oh my goodness, today's the day it launched. And we all woke up the next morning and realized, oh my God, it's launched. So that means it's still going on today and tomorrow, and it'll never not go. That's it. It started. And I think seeing the expansion, seeing how fast it's going, time to make sure nothing's happened, I think really that's what a lot of this is. And I know it seems maybe not accurate because it's been so delayed, but the truth is there's been a lot of buying, silent buying, slowly coming in from institutionals, hedge funds, just everyone. They're slowly accumulating. And then when you get to certain levels, all it takes is, someone like Elon buying $1 billion worth of Tesla that will just send us through these liquidity zones. So had everyone not already been buying and pushing the stock up to this point where I was mentioning to you that we have resistance here, but if we break this,
right,
all that buying had to get us there. Then Elon buying literally was just like the last drop that sent us overflowing. And so I think a lot of this is that couple in the pay package, right to your point, like everything.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a lot more here, but we're not going to see it. I mean, it's there. It's potential energy. That's what it is. We're not going to see it become kinetic, in my opinion, until maybe going into the third quarter earnings, or if we get a new vehicle announcement in October prior to that. So I don't know. I mean, like, this is all speculation. Like,
For
look,
sure,
at the end of the day, I always say this. Your best investment advice that you'll ever get from me is you don't know anything. I don't know anything. Rainey doesn't know anything. And the sooner you come to terms with that, the better you're going to be at investing, especially when it comes to trying to time anything. But we're human, so I like taking a stab at things. I would be surprised if we don't actually go down after the Fed rate meeting. I'd actually be really surprised.
The market as a whole, or Tesla, or both?
Yes, both.
Both, okay.
Yeah. What does down mean? I have no idea what down means, but I don't think, like, Wednesday, hey, we might close green Wednesday. Thursday's the real move. After the Fed meeting, it's always Thursday. So look out for what happens Thursday.
Yeah. So of course, a couple of the things that might have implications for that would be historically what happens after the Fed's first cut. I did happen to read an article on that the other day, and apparently, if it's done because we're going into a recession, almost always goes down. But if it's done outside of a recession, typically it goes up. Yep. So that would be typical.
Yeah, but
know what you think about history.
Well, I would say this is the up.
Yeah.
We know the cut's coming. Everyone knows it's baked. It's literally 100%.
Yeah.
If it wasn't going to happen, we would have seen something from 𝐑𝐚𝐬𝐝. He's the Fed's leak guy. Like,
okay.
Like, I feel like everyone knows this.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know? Okay, yeah. Nick, you'll see him. He's got kind of like longer hair. He always gets to speak. He's been the first on what the cut or not cut is going to be since 2022. He's their leak guy. He would have reported something by now. They are going to do a 25 basis point cut. They're not going to do a 50 basis point cut because, again, it would have leaked through him by now.
Right.
So it will be a 25 basis point cut. The Fed doesn't like surprises. We know that. It's baked in. That's why we've seen the markets moving up. Now, in my opinion, we're going to tomorrow's probably crazy. Like it's gonna it'll be completely flat
Yeah.
until 2 p.m. and
Yeah.
from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. it'll be just a sinusoidal wave everywhere. But Thursday tends to be how you really know how the market's digesting things, right?
Now, is
So
that going to be partially based on what the chairman says about the future? Does he signal more cuts the rest of the year? Does he signal any quantitative easing in the other tools that the Fed is using? Or, if we get some quantitative easing and we get some promise of more cuts, that might portend a stronger market on Thursday.
no, I mean, again, I don't know anything, but if my opinion is that he will do a rate cut and he'll have pretty hawkish statements.
Hawkish statements.
Yeah.
Okay. So he'll say, that's it, one and done.
No, he'll
Oh.
probably say something like, we feel now it's time to do a rate cut, but we remain data dependent and we'll see. There's still a lot of issues. We see inflation rising, which gives us pause. And, he'll say all the same things over and over. But
are they going to have a dot plot for this one, or do you know?
Yes, there will be an SCP.
So we'll at least have that.
Well, now you got me wondering.
Huh?
Now you made me second guess myself.
Okay.
And that's the other thing, right? That dot plot. Yeah, there will be. Yeah, I was right. Yeah, so there will be dot plot tomorrow. So that will be another interesting one to see how that is. But I imagine you're going to see more cuts in that. But the more cuts you see on that, the more hawkish his statements will be, I predict.
I see. Okay. All right. So Bessent was on CNBC this morning for a half an hour. Don't know if you heard that one, but he said, look, labor's flat. And not flat. He meant fine. In other words, he went into a long description of what's taking place in labor in terms of AI. He said all the things I've been saying. AI is part of it. The tip of the spear of AI is showing up. So we're seeing a little bit of softness in labor because AI is taking those jobs. He talked about the migration. He talked about that, retail is obviously strong right now. We had big, great numbers this morning. He also said inflation is under 2%. So he must be looking at trueflation instead of the numbers that the CPI is putting out.
Yeah, he's talked about looking at trueflation before.
Right. So I think, he's thinking that he's basically saying business is ready to go. And he then echoed Tom Lee, maybe not knowing he was echoing Tom Lee, that what we really need right now from this cut is housing, durables, light manufacturing, the small caps, the financials, the regional
I can
banks.
say it better. We need a softening in the credit markets.
Right. So that all of those lagging parts of the market can catch up.
Well, I don't know so much so that they can catch up.
Or get
more
going.
so they can get going, so they can get activated. Yeah. When you say catch up, it makes it sound like pricing wise, right? Because
no,
if you lower rates, you're going to create more.
I'm talking about they've been in recession for years now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need a loosening of the credit markets. And again, when you hear the word loosening, you think, oh no, that's not good. Not saying loosen, but we need a little bit of a reprieve. We need a slow drip of opening up the credit market so that we can get more we need to lower the days on market for housing. We need to give people some reprieve on their monthly bill. Look, we're clearly in a market where it's weird. I'm sure at some point in history we've had a market like this when it comes to housing, but not in my lifetime.
No.
And the reason I say that is because it's not so much a supply demand thing. Which is weird. It's there's more demand than there is supply.
Right.
even though there's a bunch of supply on the market.
Yes.
The problem is affordability.
Right.
So if you like stair step this, is it supply demand? No. We've got more demand than supply. But let's look down. Okay. But there's a bunch of supply out there. So it should feed the demand. Well, no, because it's too expensive. Okay. So we should lower the prices. Well, there's your next problem is that the people who are selling, they don't need to sell. They can wait.
Right.
Because what are they going to get into?
Exactly.
So they can be patient. They don't have to do anything.
Right.
So the only thing, it's everything is just sitting there like static.
Yes.
And you need something to move things. And that's where the interest rates can help. Taxes aren't changing, well, maybe in Florida, but taxes aren't going away anytime soon.
Right.
Insurance, California and Florida, they're not changing anytime soon.
Right.
As much as we all want to, even if they do over time, it's going to be slow. The only thing that can be immediate will be interest rates.
Right.
Because again, people like me, people like you, even if we want to sell one of our properties, we don't need to right now. We can just rent it out. We'll wait. I'd rather wait 3 years and sell in an up market than now. Why would I do that? I'd rather take less rent than sell in this market.
Right. Exactly.
So
yeah, and that you've hit the nail on the head, and that even applies to the builders, because the builders who also have a lot of supply right now, in the past, it takes like a year and a half before they get desperate. They've only been in a slow period for about 6 months at this point in terms of being oversupplied. So they would need another year of this before they would start getting desperate. So it's yeah.
And even more of the irony is that they're pulling back now.
Yeah, right.
You know, so they're just pulling back like, all right, well, we just won't build as much right now.
Yeah.
And we'll focus on what we have, you know, and, you know, for the bigger companies, it works great. And, you know, I don't know, we're in a very stagnant housing market.
Right.
And I think if you can get rates down into the mid to low fives, you're gonna see deals flow like crazy. Yeah,
100%. All right. So the other big news for Tesla today, and you know, this is not nearly as big as the first piece of news. That's why it's second. Waymo has announced they've received approval to begin operations at San Francisco International Airport. They will be able to start testing, and they'll go through the same phase testing that we've seen Tesla going through on regular streets. So they got to have somebody behind the wheel for a while, then they got to have somebody in the car for a while, and then they can start taking rides. Tesla simultaneously, almost 2 days ago, yesterday, they announced that they have a job opening for somebody to do a plan for every single airport in the world, apparently, or at least all the big ones, to figure out how to navigate them. You know, where do you need to pay to get in and out? You know, where are you allowed to park? Where you're not allowed to park? All those kind of things. Like I know some airports now are going like LAX is going to go, where there's only people that could go in the airport are ride hail and buses. So there's that. So there's all these different situations. So what did you think about this news? Do you think? I mean, I wouldn't have expected this to move the market on a normal situation, but I do think it's an important piece, another piece of the puzzle kind of coming together.
All right. You want to hear another prediction?
Sure. Here we go.
Oh, it's just, you guys are going to be amazed at how I get these things so right. And when I say this, everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, that's obvious. But let's see. No, you haven't heard anyone say this.
Okay. All right.
Tesla robotaxis will be working in Austin Airport before Waymo's ever working in any airport.
Okay. All
Watch.
right. Okay.
In fact, I think it'll be working before the shareholders meeting.
Before the shareholders meeting. Okay. Before November 6th. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay. So I've been saying now a couple of days that I think what's happening, which I didn't expect, is that Tesla is plowing the ground everywhere. Mm-hmm. So they are, as opposed to, oh, let's just go like this in Austin, and then we'll go out and we'll go like this in Dallas, and then we'll go like this in Florida. They're out setting the stage everywhere. And then once it's cured, once we've got it figured out in Austin, they won't have to go through all this process everywhere else. It'll just boom, 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 just be everywhere.
Yeah, they're putting seeds out there.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I think I see that as well. It's now here's the exciting thing is that this will be the last quarter was our first quarter after the Robotaxi launch, but it was so new,
Yeah.
right? So there weren't a lot of great questions to be asked. Now we've got about a quarter under our belt, and we've launched in some new areas. We've done some expansions. So believe it or not, I am extremely excited about listening to the
Burning Skull.
institutional investors' questions. Yeah, I want to hear, because now, guess what? Any question they have is going to be a question that I'd be aligned with them asking.
Probably.
As
Yeah.
long as it's related to this topic.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, it's obvious. No, that's great. What is the answer to that, guys? That's a great question because we don't know much. We know very little.
Yeah.
So literally, the question, as long as it's around robotaxis and expansions and all that, we know nothing. So any question they have is a good question. So I'm excited about this. I think it's gonna be an exciting time, and I want to know what's the pace. What are they seeing? What's holding them back right now? What are the KPIs? Or like just anything. Like, why haven't they added more vehicles?
Yeah.
When will they do that? What's the confidence? Where all do they need to have command centers? Like, one command center can occupy how much of a region?
Right.
If you have one in Austin, can that span out to Dallas, to San Antonio, to Houston?
Yeah.
Or do you have to have one in each major hub, like an airport?
Yeah.
What's that look like? There's just so many questions.
So, okay. So in all of these things that we've already just talked about, we haven't talked about two that most people probably have at the top. Well, I'm sorry. One, which probably everybody has at the top of their list that could likely take us to 488 by the end of the month or
New
by
vehicle?
October 2nd. Okay.
New vehicle.
I'm sorry.
New vehicle.
No, not the new vehicle. The
Oh.
the beat on both energy and shipments, which would be what the traditional investors are looking for. And right now the beat looks like it could be 60, 70,000 cars and maybe 3 or 4 gigawatts.
I think we're seeing a lot of that be priced in here
right now. Okay.
Yeah. So,
or the analysts are increasing their numbers.
I just think in general, like, I know you guys have heard me say this a lot, but the market prices all these things in ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Anything anything you think that they don't, I would say 99% of the time, the market's going to price it in before the thing you think happens. The rare exceptions, I would say, are like, we know how good FSD is and we're experiencing it because we're constantly driving it and everyone else isn't. That's an edge, I think, in information. But even then, we don't know how to actually use that because we've had that edge for all these years. And like, what have we done with it? Like, it hasn't made a lot of people money who are just sitting on the stock. But when it comes to that, I think most people know it's going to be a good quarter. This is where Gary Black's right. A lot of this move is because people are getting ahead of a beat, good numbers, all that. Where he's wrong is that that's all this is. It's that's what he wants to be so that he's rationalizing. No offense, he's an old man trying to rationalize his poor decisions. He got out of the stock and he regrets it. A lot of his celebrity came from being a Tesla investor and being invited to calls and I don't know. But so now he's a man left wanting. So I do think a lot of this has to do with the beat, Randy. How much is left? I have no idea. This might be, we might have all the way till 600 before it's all priced in. I have zero idea.
Yeah.
But a lot of this move has to do with that. the thing that I think is silently out there that no one's talking about at all are the new vehicles.
Mm.
And I think that is the thing that could become the next catalyst.
Okay, so I think the biggest catalyst of all is one that nobody talks about, and maybe the people are pricing it in. Maybe the sophisticated investors are thinking about this, but not even most of the retail, not even the most of the pundits like you and me, the whatever we call ourselves, and that is unsupervised. So to me, unsupervised is the biggest deal, maybe that's still to be unleashed because
Yeah,
it's going
that'll
to
be end
sell
of year.
cars. It's going to sell cars. It's going to sell FSD. It's going to sell the whole concept, and it's going to make people less anxious about getting into a cyber cab, et cetera. So I think the day that even if he only unleashes it in Texas at first, one region, or maybe Texas and California, whatever, even if it's regional, once unsupervised happens, I think there's no way the stock doesn't go up because I don't think anybody's paying any attention to it.
I agree with you. But I don't think it'll be, you and I won't get unsupervised. I think only, well, okay, you might. Well, maybe by then I will. I don't know. But I think only the areas where there's robotaxi, that's where unsupervised will be. It'll probably start only with the robotaxi fleet.
Mhm.
And I mean, it might take a year before it rolls out to individuals,
Mhm.
because it's a lot different when you're an unsupervised and, meaning a robotaxi, and you have a command center,
Mhm. Mhm.
and versus you are in your car, no command center, and maybe you would be part of the command center if you go unsupervised. Um, but then you're sitting in your passenger or in your driver's seat, and oh, you were sleeping, and you woke up and you accidentally hit the steering wheel, or you accidentally just put your foot on the pedal. Like, then what? Like I could almost see a world where we never get unsupervised in our own vehicles if we're in the driver's seat.
If we're sitting in the driver's seat. Oh, wouldn't it be possible electronically to lock out that equipment?
I don't think the steering wheel, yes. I don't think you could do it to the brake.
The brake. Okay.
I think the brake's mechanical brake.
Okay. Yeah, not sure. 100% mechanical, meaning no electronics at all.
I mean, I can look it up real quick
Okay. All right. All right.
while you entertain people with some great discussion of that thing you were talking about.
Let's see. Well, okay, those would be the things that are on my mind that I think are going to move the markets. And I think there's more. I think there's more that we're not even talking about because I had a long list last week that I've been paying attention to. Um, there's, does it say?
Uh, so it does use regenerative braking. Obviously, we know that, and traditional mechanical hydraulic friction brake from System Power. Yep, obviously calipers are friction brake. Brake boosters. The primary hydraulic brakes cannot be fully disabled or shut off by the computer in a way that eliminates all stopping ability. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So
Yeah.
now that could be true for a new vehicle they might make,
Right.
that they would design a certain way, but again, like I think
If you could lock out the
I
steering wheel, you'd take a big part of your problem would be eliminated by being able to lock out the steering wheel.
yeah. I guess, yes, the steering wheel you can do.
Right.
I believe you can do. I guess what you could always also do is, should you choose, like, there'd probably be like a disclaimer
Yeah.
saying, hey, if you press on the accelerator, the pedal, or doing the steering wheel, we do not have responsibility. The onus is on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have the logs on all of that.
Sure.
So, I mean, you could do that. And it's like, okay, the onus is on you. You want to sit here, go for it. But if you interrupt anything, it's on you.
Yeah. All right. Just breaking, just before we came on,
Uh-oh. What?
is
What'd I miss?
that Trump announced that they're putting, I don't know if Trump announced it because, yeah, maybe not. Anyway, the United States announced that they're putting the North American Trade Pact back on the table. And Premier Carney
That's
and
Canada, Mexico?
Yeah, Canada and Mexico. And Premier Carney is headed to Mexico right now to meet with Scheinbaum. And so after all of this kerfuffle over the North American Free Trade Pact and all of the issues, especially with Canada, of course, their economy is just horrible right now. So apparently Trump has finally decided, okay, it's time to put down the weapons and get our friends back to the table or something. I'm not sure exactly what, but I would think that this would be stimulative as well. I think this would be a potential stimulus to the overall market.
It sounds like he's going to try to put a big squeeze on China.
Okay, all right, because they're saying today, Bessent also said that the China deal is coming together really well. They got the what do you call it, the TikTok thing is solved. They just need President Xi and Trump to agree on Friday, but that the framework is all there. And that after that, they think there's no reason they won't put the entire China trade pact together by the cutoff date, November 10th, I think is that. I can't, not 100% sure.
Yeah, all these trade deals will be done by the end of the year.
Okay.
Year one for this Trump presidency will be defined by border secured and new trade policies and tariffs and all that. So all that will be in place. Sprinkle in some, ending of wars, and these countries that most people don't even know we're at war. I think that's what that will be. And then he'll want to get into a whole new agenda for year two. I think, and it'll be interesting. I don't know what year two looks like, but clearly he doesn't want to go into year two dealing with all this. He wants to go into his State of the Union talking about everything he's done in the first year.
And what he's planning to do.
Yeah. Oh, well, obviously, yeah. But I don't know what year two looks like, but
I think it's going to be housing.
Oh,
I don't know. Did you and I already talk about this last week? They did a survey with these New York yo-yos that are planning on putting this socialist in charge. And they said, what are your issues? Housing was at the top by a landslide. And it's about these under 35-year-olds who are sitting there going, I can't even pay off my student loan. How can I afford
some of us
a decent place to live?
Not all of us.
I know. My kids, my kids didn't have loans, and my grandkids barely have loans. So we're not about that.
Yeah. Yeah, housing's a big deal, that's for sure. But I think it'll be interesting. I hope he doesn't. I don't like the idea of using federal lands or anything like that. I think that's a mistake.
Okay.
I think the best you can do is get a lot of these big funds out of purchasing single family houses. Because I think it becomes somewhat, I don't know what the right word is. It's not monopolistic.
No.
I don't know what the word is, but I don't think that you should have these big companies going and buying all of these single family houses in mass. And that might seem anti-capitalism. I don't quite see it that way. I think what it's doing is trying to protect capitalism in many ways, because the way most people in this country, and you tell me where you disagree, but the way most people in this country start off getting any of their wealth is by home ownership. And home ownership for an individual has so many repercussions. It's the difference between someone feeling okay with littering on the ground and not littering.
Right.
I mean, it's not only that, obviously, but it's the point. People take pride in their city, and it's the difference between someone wanting to give back to their community and be prideful of it, prideful of put a flag in their yard, right? It's like you feel like you're part of the country.
Yep.
But when you are always renting, you don't. And I guess part of the reason why I'm against BlackRock, Blackstone, all these big companies getting in there and buying all these houses, because we've seen enough at, in the World Economic Forums, Davos, all this, where they have these perverse ideologies of you will rent everything and own nothing and be happy, and they hide behind the mask of capitalism. And it's like, well, that's not capitalism. That's literally you trying to be monopolistic. Even if it's only a couple companies, you're trying to have like a duopoly or whatever you want to call it, but where you're starving out the people. It's enslavement is what it is. You're trying to enslave people to always have to rent from you, to always have to, suck at the bosom of BlackRock. And I just think that's perverse. And I think what they're doing is bastardizing what capitalism is. Anyways, I get where you can easily say that I'm being a hypocrite with that, but it's the intentionality behind what they're doing that I'm really against.
Yeah,
And again, it's only for single home families. That is what I'm against. If they want to go and buy land and build development, that's their or apartments or developments. They can buy land, build single family houses and rent those out. That's fine. They did their own thing, but they shouldn't be going around and buying up individual houses from people.
Yeah, I think there might be a pragmatic way to try to weave that into the Constitution and into capitalism. But there might also be a bully pulpit way to do it. That would be another possibility, is getting on the phone. Trump has a lot of power, and just say, look, knock it off.
But do you agree with me?
No, I agree that it's a problem. I think.
Actually, I can give an example of where this also exists.
Yeah.
But it exists in the inverse.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not a certified investor, if you don't have, I don't know, I forget what it is, 2 million in assets that you can prove to be a certified investor, you can't invest in private companies.
Right.
Right? You can't.
Right.
I see it the same way. Let's take them the inverse. If you are a company of this size, you cannot buy single family homes. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing, but in reverse.
Right.
And the reason you do that, why people who don't have at least 2 million in assets can't buy, invest in private companies, is to protect the stupid little guy, individual. In my opinion, all right, well, same thing. The reason these big companies can't buy individual houses is to protect the little guy. So I think that's very consistent.
Yeah, here's the other side, and it's not something we can do in 5 minutes, but I have talked about it on the show before. There is a perversity among the under 35 population that is more important than what BlackRock is doing. And that perversity is not getting married, not having kids, not caring about buying a house, not even having that on their list because they're not married and they're not having, and you need today in this world, you need, 2 incomes preferably. I mean, my son is 29 and he's on his second house already with 1 income, and 3 kids. So it can be done in North Carolina. But the other perversity is this, I don't know, the feeling like your first house has to be 2,500 square feet on an acre. It's like, I was pretty well to do even at 24 when I bought my first house, but I bought a townhouse. I bought what I could afford, and then I sold the townhouse and bought a 2,500 square foot house. It was like, where can I get into the market? I'll get in someplace. And the young people, there's places you can get in right here in California. Believe me, within 3 miles of where I'm sitting right now in Riverside, you can buy a condo for a couple of $100,000. Maybe it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, but it's a start.
How much are the condo fees?
No, this would be like a building, where the condo fees are not that much.
Gotcha.
Not like my place where it's $525 a month.
No, I don't disagree with you, but I do think people want to buy houses. It's just they feel that they can't because there's an affordability issue, and there is. Like, to say there's not is just
there's an affordability issue. I'm not arguing that.
Yeah, no, I know, but But part of that is that you have a lot of supply being sucked out by these big
Yeah.
corporations.
I'm not disagreeing with your
Yeah.
analysis, only saying there's also this other side. And I really think it's kind of like
Well,
the
but
college argument that we just didn't have a few minutes ago. Like, why do you need to go to some school that's $60,000 a year? Go to a junior college for 2 years and then find go to a very fine school, darn it, Grand Canyon, which is like $20,000 a year, and finish up at Grand Canyon for 40 grand. You probably can do that with your summer earnings.
yeah, I mean, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, to your point about like people aren't getting married and all that. The thing I find is that, and I was like this too before. Like I think a lot of people. I mean, I'm going to speak for a segment of people here, but I think there's a large segment of people who it's not that they don't want to get married, is that they want to have a decent paying job, they want to be established with the house, and then they want to be able to, after they have the house, then they want to be able to go and afford a engagement ring, and then once they have that and they've moved in and they live together and they're married, then they want to be able to have a kid once they feel right. It's like there's an order of operation.
Right.
Now society has pushed that order of operation out, one because we're living longer and society in general has told people to wait, but also two because you kind of have to for many people because things are just more expensive, and so just to build up to savings for a down payment and all that, it just takes a little longer. And we've also normalized that. So I mean, there's lots of problems, right? Like I mean, I can always play devil's advocate against myself here, where we just have the bigger problems. We have a financial literacy problem, and if
Right.
people would just understand that from the day that they get their first job in high school, they need to be saving and investing, and that's it. And they need to do that until they get their first $100,000. And once they get their first $100,000, they can maybe breathe a little bit, but life is much easier once you have that first $100,000
Okay, but
to go.
let me turn it around on you again.
No,
So
don't.
if you're 22 years old, you've got your 4 years of college, and maybe you do have a student loan, but if you
Nope.
got a decent job out of school because you took some classes that got you a decent job, then you can go get a $200,000 condo with 3% down. Can't you come up with 6 grand? Okay, closing
Oh
costs,
yeah.
11 grand. Okay, so FHA is 3% down. Yeah, you got to pay extra fees and stuff for that, but it gets you in. And it's like, I don't get it. I didn't have a 3% down option when I was a kid. I ended up with
Yeah.
a first, a second, and a third to get in my first place.
Yeah, I mean honestly what I would tell people like I imagine your audience are not the people who should be listening to this advice.
Yeah,
But
but
if you
maybe
have
their kids
kids
are.
or grandkids,
Yes.
it's listen, this is a stupid easy formula. I'm telling you, it's what I'll be telling my kid. I'll be telling my kids different things because we'll be in a different situation. But if I was talking to someone who's just starting out and they were in college, I would tell them number one, no student debt doesn't
Right.
exist.
That's
You
it.
work a job, you go to community college, and you transfer to a 4 year. You don't go to college. You do whatever you need to do. You do not have student debt.
Right.
And if you're good parents, good grandparents, help them out. Give them a gift. Put contingencies on that gift where grades, certain things must be part of it. They must also have a job, right? Like, you need to graduate without any debt, no student debt.
Mhm.
Then you need to tell them, listen, whatever car you buy it in cash, only in cash. You have no card debt. You are now in the top 1% of people your age right now, the second you do that. From there, your goal, to your point, Randy, is to save until you get down payment on the house. You make sure that house has at minimum 2 rooms because you're going to take that other room and you're going to rent it out to your friend.
There you go.
And that friend is going to help cut the cost of your mortgage. Then from there, you're going to keep saving until you get 100 grand. Once you get 100 grand, life is easy.
Right.
You get 100 grand, all you have to do is 10x that money to become a millionaire. Once you get $1 million, that's your hardest million. Actually, I lie. Your second million is actually the hardest. But once you get that first million, you don't need a 10x again. You just need to make 100% return and you got 2 million. After that, you just need to make a 50% return and now you got 3 million. Like life gets so much easier. But people don't think about it this way. They don't think about it this way at all. Credit cards, you have one credit card. That's it. Have a credit card. It's good, but you will never, ever, ever not pay the balance in full at the end of every month.
Mhm.
Always, religiously. You will track this. I literally do this. I've done this my entire life since I was in high school. Track on a spreadsheet every single cent you spend. You don't have to do it twice a month. I do it on the 15th and the last day of the month. I track everything. What's the category? I just do it on I use the max. I use numbers. It's simple. You know where your money's going. You work hard for it, know where it's going. From there, S&P 500 index, if you don't want to know anything about markets, I'd advise against that, because if you do that, you're going to get old and retire, and you're going to know no more about money than you did when you were at that age. So I believe in active investing, but from there, that's where your great-grandparents and great-parents, and you're going to help teach your kids what it is to invest, what it is to be capital efficient. But that is a tried and true tested blueprint.
100%.
It does not fail, and everyone can do that today. I don't care if you're poor, if you grew up in a ghetto, anywhere, you can do that.
Totally agree. So, by the way, Dave Ramsey is getting old. Maybe you can take over.
Nah, I like too much of the once you have money, what do you do?
Yeah, there you go. All right, it's more fun to play that in that range. Well, okay, so we're still going up. Tesla's now up $1.90 in the overnight. We're sitting at 423.42. So maybe we can burst through 430 tomorrow. And then what? You said we're going, there's nothing to stop us. Now I happen to have a different number. I think there's an issue at 440.
No, yeah, I didn't say there's nothing to stop it. I told you we're probably coming down. Staying sideways or going down.
Right. Yes, but you did say that there was no resistance between 430 and the old all-time high.
I mean, I'm literally looking at it right now. There isn't,
Yeah.
but there is, there's exhaustion right now.
Exhaustion. Okay. Exhaustion.
But again, like if Elon comes out tomorrow and says that he bought another $1 billion, like who cares about exhaustion? Like no one cares about that at that point,
Right.
It's like you just took an espresso shot. Hey, I'm not as tired anymore.
If the news is good, enough. All right. So let's see about the bonds. What are they thinking at this point with regard to tomorrow? Whoops, this is another, I don't care about that news. All right. So we've got UNCH on the 10-year, but we're sitting at
What's that?
UNCH, unchanged.
No, I know what it stands for. What are we at?
Oh, 4026, 4.026.
It was not, we like briefly broke got into the threes the other day.
Like a minute. Yeah.
I know. I was like, ooh, this might be good.
Might be. I think it's
but that's also how you know we're not getting a 50 basis point cut. That's the other way you know.
Is that right? Okay. All right.
Yeah, just look at the 10-year. I'll tell you everything you know.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, last time we got the cut, it went up. Oil sitting pretty, up 11 cents in the pre-market, 64.63. Anything on the oil and natural gas? Natural gas up another 0.71. Oh, this is starting to look like a little bit of a breakout, 3.12. So it's been really close to $3 for a couple of weeks. That's a little bit of a breakout.
Yeah. I don't really have any thoughts.
Okay. Gold.
Oil. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oil.
I'll just say I feel like oil's been sitting here in this range for quite some time now.
It has. Okay.
But it's nothing crazy. I mean, it's great for inflation.
Right. 100%. Gold doesn't know what the top is. So maybe we should talk about gold at the same time that we talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up 1426. So it is making a run, 116,745. It is making a run. Ether up another 0.13 at 4,500. And gold up 0.18 at 3732. So is gold and Bitcoin just going to keep going up, and Ether all just going to just keep going up forever?
I mean,
Tom Lee thinks that Ether is going to double by the end of the year.
And listen, I'm the wrong person to talk to about crypto because no one has any room to judge it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
It's never.
I mean, Bitcoin's literally like the best performing asset over like the last decade.
Yeah.
So you can't argue with it.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in it. I don't.
You still don't. Okay. I don't either.
It's how do I say this? I don't think that it has staying power over the long term. I think there's a certain point where, and it could have staying power until it's $1 million a Bitcoin, right? $5 million Bitcoin. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I think it gets to a point where people just don't care about Bitcoin, or it's going to get to a point where it's just stagnant and there's not enough new buyers. I could be wrong again. Like I said, I could go to whatever, but I tend to, well, I don't agree with a lot of, actually I agree with a lot of what Warren Buffett says. Some of the things I don't agree with him, but I actually agree with the majority of what he says. But I like Buffett says, I like owning producing assets.
Yeah.
Because I can understand those. I can,
Yeah.
I feel like with Bitcoin, with gold, you're just hoping something happens. Like there's no way to do, like there's no critical thinking to go to it. It's just, you hope, like you can have critical thinking on your opinion, your thesis on it, but there's nothing that you can sit there and think, okay, if this and this happened, if this does this, okay, we are tracking this, we see this product being made, I've tested that product, it is a good product, there's people want it, it's demand, it's life safe. Like you can't do any of that with Bitcoin.
Right.
You can just talk about how it's a great money. You know, how people in Iran want to put their money in Bitcoin so that the government can't take it. Okay, yeah, those are all really valid points. I get that 100%. But so when could something happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
How can it alter the world? I don't know. Like other than what you keep saying, it's just I don't know.
Right.
I know just a lot of people are like, dude, you just don't get it. Like it's obviously X, Y, Z. And trust me, some of my best friends are just huge Bitcoin people.
Yeah.
And it's just not me. I'd rather own Tesla and Nvidia and Tesla and Amazon.
Tesla.
And yeah.
So we've been brilliant at prognosticating yet again.
Haven't we?
The three futures for the equities are all sitting up 0.1. So I would call that flat. So
I would call you correct.
right. Well, it's going to be an interesting week for all of us, but for nobody will it be as interesting as it will be for you. So all the best of luck or whatever it is that you need. If you need prayers, we can do that too.
Send prayers, send luck, send everything. We just want a healthy baby.
What a fantastic week you're going to be having. It's really great. And we'll look forward to speaking to you someday. I don't know. You'll have to let me know, or I'm sure you'll check in with me from time to time as this wonderful bundle of joy comes into the world. And we'll be doing this again in the future, and maybe you'll have pictures.
Maybe. We're going to be kind of we're going to be pretty private with
what about newborns? I mean, in 3 weeks it won't look anything like that. So anyway,
yeah,
you'll make your decision. Hey,
it's a brave new world with AI and everything right now.
All right. Loving that you're going to have that baby. And we'll look forward to the next time. Thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom. I won't ask for any more wisdom. Your brain.
Oh, I got one.
Oh, you do? Oh, you do? Okay.
I got a final thought. I do.
I was afraid your brain might break.
Run to your Trader Joe's shop and get the in-shell pumpkin seeds, dry roasted, lightly salted. Delicious.
Okay. There you go. Well, that's wisdom. That's wisdom if I ever saw it. So as always, thank you so much to all of you out there after you get your pumpkin seeds. It's been great talking to you.